So welcome to another recording of Mehera-Meher. We're starting at the bottom of page 325. And Cha-Cha got his name from always crying out, cha, cha, tea, which he loved as much as he hated bathing. Once in Satara, he had Baba drink 50 cups of tea, which Baba only pretended to do. Chacha never did allow himself to be bathed in Satara, and only after several weeks did he permit his old clothes to be replaced with new ones. As Baba has explained, the clothes and odds and ends that a must keeps by him or on his person have some inner significance. It is for this reason that they cling so obstinately to them. After working with the musts, and Cha-Cha in particular, Baba emerged with a face pale and tired, often with his clothes drenched in perspiration. Despite his joy in being with the musts, whatever work Baba was doing with them at this time was exhausting. Later, it was realized that it had to do, most likely, with the coming partition of India into two parts, India and Pakistan. Baba took Mehra and the other women to see both musts. There is Chacha, he said, and added about the effulgence glowing on his face. What Nurani light! Chacha wore filthy clothes, Meru recalled. But what I remember vividly is the beauty and brightness of his eyes, his inner purity shining through. Chacha was sitting quietly inside a room, Mara said. He hardly lifted his eyes. He had fair skin and a very strange look in his eyes. We stayed for just half a minute. Having worked 40 days with Chacha, on 10 July, Baba sent him back with Baidul to the shrine in Ajmer. Ali Shah, the most peaceable of Jamali musts, began to be in a bad temper, making it difficult for Baba to work with him. So on 14 July, Baba sent him back to a dharamshala in Ahmednagar, where he usually stayed. Later, he was brought to Mehrabad, where Baidul looked after him. On 21 July, Baba began fasting for 11 days, and Norina was put on silence for 40 days, ostensibly so that she could rest and improve her health. The next day, Jal brought a kawal from Pune to sing before Baba every day for a month. But after 2 days, Baba said that because of his present fast, it was too difficult for him to bear the strain of listening to the music, which he usually loved. The singer was sent away. On 1 August, Baba broke his fast, and 2 days later, Ali Shah was re-summoned to Satara. Baba worked with him until 9 August. During this phase of work, Baba called Erich and asked him to write on the wall in his room, quote, "The month of February 1948 will be eventful," end quote. But he did not say why. That same day, Baidul took Ali Shah to Mehrabad, and Baba left for Pune by car with some of the Mandali. And the side note says, before leaving Satara, Baba took the women to that morning to the fort of Ajinkia Tara in Elizabeth's new DeSoto and showed them the spot where he had worked in seclusion the previous April. So Baba left for Pune by car with some of the Mandalay. From there, he went to various towns in Hyderabad to contact musts, much of it done in the pouring rain. Baba was still contacting musts 1 week later, on 15 August, when India was partitioned and widespread violence ensued. All over India, the greatest migration in human history had begun. 10.5 million people would be uprooted, most of them in the brief span of 3 months. And half as many Indians would die as all the American soldiers in World War II. One constant refrain sprang from the lips of the British officers who had stayed on to serve in the Indian or Pakistan army. Quote, "It was far worse than anything we saw in World War II," end quote. Robert Trumbull, a New York Times correspondent, noted, quote, "I have seen dead by the hundreds, and worst of all, thousands of Indians without eyes, feet, or hands. Death by shooting is merciful and uncommon. Men, women, and children are commonly beaten to death with clubs and stones and left to die, their death agony intensified by heat and flies. But at whatever cost, Pakistan was a new nation and India had gotten her independence. And when the new green, dark saffron, and white Indian flag had been ceremoniously raised on 15 August in Delhi, a rainbow had suddenly flashed across the sky with green, saffron, and indigo bands, eerily, eerily similar to the colors of the flag framed in its perfect arc. And that was a quote. A voice in the crowd had cried out in Hindi, "When God Himself gives us a sign such as this, who can stand against us?" Ra- Rabindranath Tagore wrote the national anthem, and in 1963, a national bird was also chosen. While the decision was being made about the national bird, Mani had, quote, "silently, fervently prayed to Baba to make it a peacock." And so it was. And there's the side note. I guess it's referring to the quote, "eerily similar to the colors of the flag framed in its perfect arc." That was Larry Collins and Dominique Lapierre. Freedom at Midnight, published by New York Simon Schuster, 1975. Page 232. Here we have a nice picture of Norina, Baba, and Elizabeth, 1948, taken by Rano Ormani. And Mehera and Baba, place unknown, 1947 or 48. Baba's got a bit of a tummy there. So, new chapter, Dawn Matinees. Could we have another reader, please? Unmute and continue.
The day after the partition of the Indian subcontinent, 16 August 1947, Meher Baba returned to Satara from his must work. He immediately began planning to move to Meherabad and to divide the women into groups again. Are things changed? I'm reading from the book.
Oh, it's the same, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. One group will stay at Pimplegowan, he told the women, another at Meherabad. The Meherabad group will be subdivided. Every group will have separate cooking arrangements. Those who would stay at Meherazad were Mehera, Mani, Meru, and Walu. The four different groups at Meherabad would be one, Khorshid and her mother, Sunamasi; two, Naja, Katie, Kitty, and Rano; three, Soltun and her daughter Dawla; four, Mansari, Jurabai, Dastur, and her daughters Meru, Gulu, Jalu. On 14 August, Baba allowed darshan at Satara, and almost 500 people came. 3 days later, Baba and the women left for Meherabad in 2 cars. The men followed in public buses with the luggage. Shortly after his arrival, Baba became ill. I don't know whether there was any connection between this illness and the trouble in the Punjab, Don wrote in a letter, but it coincided with the worst days of the trouble up there. As well as being ill, he was in a terrible mood, digging and poking, teasing at everyone.
Rosary, did you read that sidebar about at the top besides partition in India?
No, I didn't. Besides partition in India and the Iron Curtain in Europe, other places in the world were also divided after World War II along artificial boundaries, including Palestine, Korea, China, and Vietnam, all of which will continue to be trouble spots for years to come. I don't know where I am. I think okay. Since construction work was still ongoing at Marathon, all the women stayed on the hill for 2 weeks. Baba stayed at Lower Meherabad in Kaikabad's cottage, but came up twice a day to see them. On 10 September, Baba moved to Meherazad with the 4 women already named, plus the 3 new additions, Goher, Norina, and Elizabeth, and some of the men, one of whom was Don. Don was now working on the manuscript for his book about the must, which Mani was typing. On 16 September, Norina and Elizabeth left with Baba and a few of the Mandali for a darshan program in Surat. A group of Bombay Parsis, instigated by Colonel Irani, had joined forces with a hostile element in Surat to oppose Baba. Nonetheless, when Baba and his party arrived 2 days later, an enthusiastic crowd welcomed them. The antagonistic forces were overwhelmed, and some even became Baba's followers. Noreen and Elizabeth returned to Mirazad with a few of the men, while others accompanied Baba on a must tour. Baba also went to Mount Abu, a pleasant hill station for relaxation and must contacts. His health was not good, so he returned to Mirazad on 1st October, where he worked with Ali Shah and other local musts for 2 weeks. When Baba was at Mirazad, he left in the evenings at 5 or 5:30 p.m. to rest at Giyada's cottage and returned in the mornings between 5 and 5:30 a.m. We had to be up and ready, Goher related. One of us would unlatch the door. Baba would want to see Mehera first. We would keep inside our rooms. Mehera would greet him in the morning, then we would all come out. If she wasn't ready, we would tell her, Mehera, Baba is coming, and she would hurriedly get ready. Baba would knock on the door if the door were latched. Otherwise, he would just walk in. He would embrace Mehera, then greet us. Goher continued. We didn't get so many embraces. Only on birthdays, Baba would point to his cheek. Very gently, we kissed Baba. Such a privilege, even that. No hugging, no embracing. I used to get so jealous sometimes during darshan programs when each person was embraced by Baba. He didn't do that to us. Very rarely we would get a touch, a caress, or an embrace. We felt that Baba embraced Mehera on behalf of all of us. That used to make us happy. Besides Goher's medical work, one of her first duties at Mirazad was to answer the bell which Kaka, or one of the Mandali, rang at the gate. When Baba was with the Mandali, the bell was rung if he wanted something, needed to see Goher, or wished Kaka to communicate a message. Although Goher was not often embraced, she was happy to be staying with Baba at last. We never missed anything, our families, etc. On the contrary, I thought of it as good riddance to be free of worry about them and to be with Baba. Even if we didn't go out for walks and were in the house all the time, none of us craved anything. We were happy to be with Baba. We had so much of Baba. Nothing else mattered. Picnics, cinema, we would go, but we wouldn't miss it if it wasn't there. We got so much attention from Baba. According to Goher, Mehera too was happy at Mirazad. Mehera felt that Mirazad was her own domain. She had more freedom here than at Meherabad. At Meherabad, her life was always in that one room. At Mirazad, she could make her garden, be outside more. Mehera had the opportunity for closer contact with Baba here also. At Meherabad, Baba would often be down the hill. working. At Meherazad, he would come to us more often to drink water for this and that. He could walk freely in those days before the automobile accidents. We kept busy in our own work. Mehera did Baba's personal work, his bed. As soon as she saw Baba coming, she would be with him. She didn't go far. She never ventured far out in front of or in back to the garden. Mostly Mehera would be in her room doing her work. She was always doing something with Baba's photos, making a locket or something like that, such as pins with Baba's nails and hair with beautiful designs. Because Baba had many times mentioned that Mehera was his Radha and had so often displayed much affection and love for her, naturally, we also respected her for what she was to him. Mehera, too, was most considerate of the others living in the ashram. Goher continued. When I first came to live at Meherazad, I was using a string bed, a charpe, like the servants use. Mehera noticed it and told Baba that I should have a better one. Here at Meherazad, she felt she could look after each one. She had care and concern for us. She had Baba's ear, and she felt that it wasn't the right type of bed for me to use, and another one was procured for me. At Meherabad, it was different. There were so many people, for one thing. Even then, she would try to see to the personal comforts of those who were living there. She was so tender and kind that she would notice that someone was uncomfortable. Baba often took the Meherazad women to Sarosh Cinema in Ahmednagar to see a movie, but they had to be up by 5 a.m. to avoid the matinee crowds. It was a specially arranged exclusive showing, and the Meherabad women also came by bus. Elizabeth drove Baba and the Meherazad women in one of the DeSotos. Mehera and Elizabeth shared one thing in common: their dislike of getting up early. Mehera recalled, to go to the movies, we had to get up so early to be at the theater by 7:30 a.m. What a what a way of seeing a picture. To get up from sleep. I never liked to get up early. Baba would come with us. A sofa was placed in the front row of the balcony for us. Baba sat on it. It was meant for two people, but Baba sat on it alone, relaxing. I sat next to him in a chair. To be with Baba, to watch a movie in his company. Baba was so sweet to take us to the movies so that we were not always cooped up in the ashram. Although Mehera still had restrictions against talking to men, she was permitted to see them. For example, when they went to the movies, it did not matter if men were part of the crowd or on the road. This was different from the early days when Mehera was told to keep her head down whenever she was outside, to guard against the chance glimpse of a man. Barnabas remembered attending some of these early morning film shows and found it amusing. Baba would not take the women to a picture for sometimes 6 months at a time. But then he would make up for it by taking them at 6 a.m. and making them sit through sometimes two, and once 3 movies at a stretch.
Good Lord.
They were so exhausted by the time it was over. One movie we saw at 6 a.m. was The Great Waltz, the screen biography of Johann Strauss. It was so funny to see this movie at 6 a.m., as waltzes are always at night. I didn't know that.
Do you have the sidebars? Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have none, but
Oh,
once a month, Sarosh would send a list of available films, and the women would check mark the movies they wanted, wish to see, a little small. And it says The Great Waltz was written by Gottfried Reinhardt, the son of Max Reinhardt, the famous producer who had staged The Miracle, in which Narina had starred. At the movies, Mansari was particular to sit directly behind Baba, as she had done on the blue bus, and stare at his braid and back. I wouldn't pay attention to the film if it wasn't a comedy, she said. Baba too loved comedies and would shake with silent mirth. He always put his hand to his mouth not to let any sound of laughter escape. Mehera noted Baba's work always came first. When asked which were Baba's favorite actors and actresses, Mehera answered, Baba liked Laurel and Hardy or Bob Hope. He didn't care much for Abbott and Costello. He liked them for some time, but then it got repetitive. He liked something about Eddie Cantor, not his singing or movies so much, but he just liked him. Baba also liked Paul Mooney and Claude Rains. If they were in a movie, he was sure to go see it. He also liked Virginia Bruce. Groucho Marx was another favorite. Baba loved to mimic him. We saw a few of the Marx Brothers films. The sidebar says Baba once mentioned Edward G. Robinson as one of his favorite actors. Cartoons were also some of Meher Baba's favorites. Baba loved cartoons. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Popeye. We saw several Mickey Mouse cartoons at Sarosh Talkies Cinema. Baba loved seeing Mickey Mouse cartoons at Sarosh Talkies. Baba loved seeing Mickey Mouse. Walt Disney was a genius to make a mouse, something feared by most people, into a charming, cute creature. We once saw a funny cartoon which Baba especially enjoyed. A bird was sick, and a crow, dressed as a doctor, came in to examine him. The patient said his tongue was coated, and the doctor, after peering down his throat, pulled out a miniature coat. We enjoyed the cartoon versions of Pinocchio and Snow White a lot, but not Cinderella. We went to see it, all full of expectation, but none of us, including Baba, liked it, as they had made Cinderella so modern. We saw Jane Eyre with Orson Welles and Joan Fontaine, but it wasn't very good, though I had enjoyed the book. We also saw David Copperfield with W.C. Fields and Lionel Barrymore, which we enjoyed, though again, we enjoyed the book more. We saw a film about the life of Saint Mira in Sarosh Talkies. Papa once told me that Mira received God realization very late in life. She did have a master, but this fact is not commonly known or remembered. What she is remembered for is her love. Her love for Krishna was so great that people only remember this about her. That is why love is most important. One day, Baba took the women to see another film with a spiritual theme, The Song of Bernadette, about Bernadette's visions of the Virgin Mary at Lourdes. And the sidebar says Jennifer Jones received an Academy Award for her moving portrayal of Saint Bernadette. But some of the films they saw were bombs. We saw the 1931 Greta Garbo picture, Mata Hari. Mara continued, but it proved too long and slow. We left after the first quarter. All Baba lovers, I lost my place. All Baba lovers had come to see it. We women from Marazad sat in the balcony upstairs with Baba. The others sat downstairs with the men. If the picture we had gone to see was unwatchable, sometimes Baba would stop the projectionist halfway through it and tell him to put on another one. Once Baba watched an entire awful picture. It was called Wake Up and Dream, 1946. It was a story of a girl's strange voyage in search of her brother, a sailor missing from World War II. Vilu, Goher's mother, Khorshid, and Goher's aunt had come from Ahmednagar to see it with us. And the sidebar says the women found the title of the film particularly ironic, given the fact that they had to wake up so early to go see it. But when the picture was, let's see, Mani explained that if the picture were good, the attention of the audience would be focused on the screen, facilitating Baba's work. But when the picture was not interesting, people's attention wandered, making Baba's work more difficult. Mani speculated that this is why often during an especially gripping film, Baba left early, his work being finished. Whereas during a poor picture, we had to sit through it until the end to complete the work he had come to do. When Baba did get up to leave, the women nudged each other in the pitch dark and whispered, "Baba's going." Dropping their interest in the movie, all hurried out behind him. Other films seen at Sarosh Cinema during this period include Charlie's Aunt with Jack Benny, For Whom the Bell Tolls, with Gary Cooper and Ingrid Bergman, and Meet John Doe, also with Gary Cooper. They saw several Shirley Temple movies as well. When Baba returned from the West in February 1935, he remarked that he had met Gary Cooper and that Cooper was a nice person. In Meet John Doe, the actor played a Christ like figure. During one intimate, emotional scene, Cooper asked the leading lady, "What makes the crowd come and listen?" She responds, "John, what we're handing them are platitudes, things they've heard a million times. Love thy neighbor. Clouds have silver linings, and turn the other cheek." The sidebar says, although Mara thought Shirley Temple was cute as a child, she was not impressed with the actress's later films when she was older. In the appendix, there's a list of some of the films Baba saw. Cooper, maybe they're like me, just beginning to get an idea what those things mean. I can see something in their faces. I can feel they were hungry for something. Maybe that's why they came. During this scene, Begin the Begin is playing in the background. But as Meru pointed out, Begin the Begin did not have any special significance in those days. Baba liked it, but it was only decades later when he dropped his body that the song assumed any special meaning to them. Meet John Doe takes place during the Christmas season. At the end, when John Doe is contemplating suicide, the leading lady tells him, "You don't have to die to keep the John Doe idea alive. Someone's already died for that once. The first John Doe, Christ, and he's kept the idea alive for nearly 2,000 years. It was he who kept it alive then, and he'll go on keeping it alive forever and always." Baba no doubt turned to Mara and smiled as the credits came up on the screen.
Oh, that's cute. I like that angle.
That's funny that that shows there because in the book it doesn't show Mara.
Ah,
Well, Eugene, it's your. Oh, we don't. Maybe we're through.
uh, chapter 79, View from the Top.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Baba was at Merzad, besides taking the women to the movies, he often took them on long walks. This activity, too, took place at dawn. Baba and the women were already awake by 5:30 a.m. and set off for their walk by 7. Baba walked swiftly ahead, Mara and the others following, trying to keep up with his pace. Sidebar says Mara was always particular that everyone lift their feet while walking so that they would not raise dust near Baba. Often their route was down the private Merzad approach road and across the broad, high embankment. Trees had been planted along the approach road by Kaka. Water for the saplings was brought every day from the lake in barrels by oxen cart. Mara observed, Baba has walked on this road to the lake with us women running after him and had shade as a result of Kaka's great care and labor. Baba loved to walk, Mara continued, noting that on walks he would always wear a pair of brown tennis shoes. He used to walk so beautifully. As we walked to the reservoir, we often saw the sunrise. Baba walked to the lake, then up and down along its thick parapet wall. He walked very quickly. Mani, Meru, Goher, and I would walk with him, struggling behind, admiring the view and the reflection of the sunrise sparkling in the water. Baba would also take us up the nearby hills. Baba climbed so swiftly he would turn around to see us struggling up. Come on, never mind, he would gesture. Baba has climbed all the hills around Marizad. Once, when Baba had gone to Mehrabad for the day, the women went for a walk alone. It was cool monsoon weather, Mera recalled. We decided to go for a nice long walk. We took bread and butter sandwiches and went to the reservoir and the further hill, which we hadn't been to before. It took us longer than we thought. It was 3 hours before we came back. Narina was waiting at Mirazad. She was so worried. Where have the girls gone to? What has happened? We didn't know it would take so long. When we came back, she was upset with Goher.
Eugene, Ralph's here now.
Oh, excellent. Ralph, do you see where we are? Uh, Second paragraph from the bottom of that 335. Maybe he's busy with something. Goher reassured her. I'm a doctor, Narina. If anything happens, I'm right there with them. So there is no need to worry. Are you ready, Rolf?
Yeah, you didn't read very long. Would you like to read more?
Oh, that's okay. I'll take another turn when you're done, or Rosalie will. Yeah, read as long as you like.
Go ahead. Yeah. Did you read the blue?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Showed her. I'm a I'm a doctor, Norina. If anything happens, I'm there with us. No need to worry. Why was Norina upset? Waiting at Marizod.
She was worried,
Yeah.
mommy. Yeah.
They went back another day with they went back another day with Baba, who led them to the other side of the lake and up to the top of this farther hill. The women were not able to keep up, so they let Baba walk ahead. Mara stopped occasionally to pick a flower, and she remembered Baba wore a blue cotton scarf. He tied it to I'm not sure I can read at the moment, Eugene.
Okay. Um,
Keep you. I'll see if I can get my sinuses open here. Go ahead.
Baba wore a blue cotton scarf. He tied it to keep his hair back if the wind was blowing. It was rough going through the dry riverbed and up the hill, covered with loose stones and brambles. Baba climbed so nimbly and beautifully in his tennis shoes. We struggled behind him. Goher last, as usual. At the top, Baba stood and admired the view. See how nice it is, he said. A beautiful view from here. See the lake. He stood there for 5 minutes and then walked all along the top. The sun was strong, so we didn't stay longer than a few minutes. Baba had told Elizabeth to meet them in the car at the bottom of the far side of the hill, and she drove them back to Marizad, everyone hot and tired. Sometimes, Meru related, Baba would say, the car needs exercise. So every morning, Elizabeth would take us for a drive down the road to a different place. Then we would climb the different hills. Every day in those days, Goher added, we would climb a different hill. It used to be nice. When Baba went on must trips, he told us to take long walks, and we did. One nearby hill before the approach road was referred to as Goher's Hill. Mehera explained how it got its name. When Baba climbed it, he did so very beautifully and easily, but there was loose gravel on it. We were following him, but we looked back and saw Goher slipping down. We helped her, some pushing and some pulling, and everyone laughing. Baba turned and asked, what are you all doing? Slowly, slowly, Goher came up. So now it is known as Goher's Hill. Meanwhile, something strange had been happening on Mehrabad Hill. At night, Kitty had heard what sounded like someone dragging a mat on the ground. Everyone heard it, except Mansari. They informed Baba, and he sent word that, in the evening, they should perform the arti at his tomb. When Baba next visited, he asked who had heard the noises. All except Mansari put up their hands. She said, I never see or hear anything. Baba asked, would you be afraid if you saw or heard something? How can I say? Mansari replied, if I haven't seen it yet. No, I know you won't be afraid, Baba commented. I know. So I tell all of you, whoever hears something or feels there is something there, tell him, go to Mansari. Whoops. Oh dear. I've oh. Oh, here we are. Tell if anyone hears, whoever hears something or feels there's something there, tell him, go to Mansari. He will leave you alone and go to her. Let him come, Mansari said. But what's the use of his coming to see me? I will say, go to Mayor Baba, and he will go to you. You will have to deal with him. Then one night, as Mansari was sleeping, she awoke to the sounds of strange, loud noises. She remembered what Baba had said, and repeated, go to Mayor Baba, go to Mayor Baba. When Baba came to Mehrabad the next time, she mentioned the incident and asked, what did you do with him? Baba only chuckled. On 16 October, Baba left on another musk tour with the men. He was gone for 3 weeks, traveling first to Ajmer, where Baba contacted several musks, including Chacha, and then to Baroda and Ahmedabad. At Mirzad, 2 cabins were being erected on a hill where Baba intended to go into seclusion. One cabin on top for him, and another a little further down for Ali Shah. The cabins were only 10 by 12 feet, but they had Mangalore tile roofs, asbestos sheet walls, and were held down against the strong winds by steel guide wires. A tent for one of the mandali on watch was pitched opposite the lower cabin. One day, Baba told the women, including Narina, that he wanted to take them up Seclusion Hill to see his cabin. It was an auspicious time prior to his going into seclusion, Mehera recalled, and we carried a flower garland with us to garland Baba. Baba walked so beautifully, so fast, always in front. Baba climbed up swiftly and then waited for us. He looked around to see where we were and snapped his fingers, gesturing. Come on, hurry! We reached him, and again he would climb on. On the first plateau, Baba said, see how nice it looks from here. He pointed out the roof of the Merzad residence and then said, we'll go on up now. The cabin is on the second plateau. Baba began climbing the short, steep path, and the others followed. When Mara saw that both sides of the narrow path slope sharply downward, she knelt down on all fours. I was feeling frightened. I can't stand heights, and I couldn't climb it any other way. Baba was surprised to see her on her knees and asked what she was doing. I am feeling frightened of the height, she said. I feel giddy. Baba quickly came to her rescue. He stretched out his hand, saying, take my hand. Mara grasped it, and Baba's strong grip pulled her up the steep slope. I felt safe and nice then. Norina took a picture of Baba and Mara on the side of Seclusion Hill, but Mara did not like how the photo turned out and kept it away. A cropped enlargement of this photograph now hangs over Goher's bed in the main house at Merazad. Now, are you feeling okay? Baba asked. Don't feel frightened. Look around. You can see all of Merazad from here. There is the lake and Pimplegaon village. A real bird's eye view, isn't it? Now, come in the cabin. Baba walked inside the small structure, the women following two by two. A chair had been placed near the window, facing the lake. Baba sat in it and spoke about his upcoming seclusion work. When he stepped out of the cabin, Mara garlanded him. Narina took another photograph with Mani's small box camera. A railing had been installed on top of the hill for Baba's safety, and another chair placed next to it where he sat. Mani took a picture of Baba resting on the banister. Rosalie, would you like to take another turn?
Okay. Later, Mara observed, I wish Seclusion Hill had been double its breadth on top. It was too small on top. Another time, when they went with Baba on an early morning walk to Seclusion Hill, there was a rainbow over the hill as they climbed up. Baba climbed the hill alone at sunset on Friday, 5th December 1947, to enter into seclusion. He stayed on the hill for 12 days, working with Ali Shah in the lower hut for 3 hours each morning, from 6 until 9 a.m., and then remaining in the hut on the summit. Once, while Baba was in seclusion on the hill, Mara was gardening outside. She happened to look up at his cabin and saw a white figure sitting by the banister. Baba wouldn't like me to keep staring, so I came away, she said. Although Mara had not looked on purpose, That afternoon, Baba sent word that the women must not go to the back garden and look towards the hill. He wished his seclusion to be total. But the women were permitted to carry on with their other activities, even going to the cinema, as Adi Sr. noted in a letter. Baba wanted the ladies to attend the cinema on the 10th and 14th, irrespective of his seclusion on the hill. But because of scarcity of petrol, Baba did away with the idea. On 16th December, Baba directed that all of the men Mandalay at Meherabad, as well as some from Ahmednagar, should meet him at 4 p.m. on top of Seclusion Hill. The next day, Baba came down the hill and ended his seclusion, since he worked with Ali Shah at Meherazad for 3 hours a day for 2 more days. On 28th December, Baba and the Meherazad women went to Meherabad, where they stayed for 4 days. Baba slept in his cabin on the hill and met devotees who had come for Mehra's birthday. But first, Baba held a meeting with the women Mandalay. He sent a note on the 27th that he would be coming at 9:30 a.m. And upon arrival, he called everyone into the East Mehra's room, where he said, "Whoever wants to stay at Meherabad must do so under these conditions. I will never come and stay here, but I will come when I want to see you. We will see each other in the cinema or whenever I call you. These are the conditions. Whoever wants to stay under them stays. If not, then by 2:30 p.m. today, let me know where you want to go. I will give you the ticket, garland you, and send you off by train." Everyone was sent out, and Mansari was the last to leave. "I used to purposely leave last," she said, "so I could stare at Baba longer, till the end. Even for his embrace or prasad, I would try to be last so I could look at him longer." Baba came out right
Whoops.
behind. What?
Oh, sorry, I messed up with my scrolling,
Ah,
but that shouldn't stop you.
Baba came out right behind me that day, but I didn't know it. A few persons from Pune had been called. I began to talk to them. Baba asked Jirbai, "Where's Mansari?" "Here I am," Mansari answered. "What are you doing here?" "Talking to the visitors." "Rano has the paper, the Times of India. I haven't read it yet." "Go and bring it." But when Mansari left, Baba followed her. At Mara's door, he stopped her and asked, "Where are you going?" "To fetch the paper." "Tell me, what is your decision?" Mansari had completely forgotten the question Baba had posed to them. "What sort of decision do you want, Baba?" Baba looked at her. "I called everyone." "Were you there?" "Yes, Baba." "You might have been there, but you must have been having a nap." "I was there." "Don't you remember? Just think. I sent a note, then called you. I said, whoever wants to stay here." "Yes, yes." Mansari interrupted. What's there to decide? It's been decided years ago. Is it true? Are you sure? Yes. But are you ready for that? Baba quoted a line from a popular song. If I have to live, I will live at the threshold of your lane. If I have to die, I will die there too. He told Mansari to repeat this line, but when she did, he asked again, are you ready for that? Yes, Baba. Baba drew her near, embraced her, and said, you have pleased me so much today. Mehera was standing nearby, and Baba turned to her and punned, Desai has decided in das 10 minutes. Desai has decided in das 10 minutes.
And the
Mansari,
sidebar, sorry, Rosalie, and the sidebar says Mansari's surname is
is Desai.
Desai. Mm.
Yeah. Baba sometimes called those from Meherabad to stay at Meherabad, but Mansari was seldom invited. Mani explained why. She will be on my chest. Baba would say, Baba would tell Katie to stay at Meherabad with Mansari. So it wouldn't be that Mansari was the only one he didn't call. Mansari disliked Katie. She would vent her anger on her as to why she wasn't called. Katie bore it all, but finally said, I wasn't called either, Mansari. Mansari, in truth, preferred Meherabad. I didn't like Meherabad from the beginning. I wanted Baba here at Meherabad. I didn't want to go there. We stayed there for 1 week in 1947 or 48. Each one was called to stay for a short time. When Baba came back from his tour, he asked whether we liked to stay there. I said, not if you were not there, not here. Baba used to tease me and say, Meherabad is yours. I would say, you are the owner, I am the servant here. I loved Meherabad from the beginning. Whenever Baba came to Meherabad from Meherazad, I asked him, Baba, when will you come back to stay here as before?
And I don't know if you have a sidebar in your book, but here's one. Baba once explained to Mansari, what is love? Have you seen a rock in the ocean? How the waves hit it so forcefully and how so often with such intensity that it wears down its side. But when the rock stands firm, but the rock stands firm. You must have such love, rock-like love, love that never wavers or falters.
Mm, well, just wait, he would say. I had no idea Baba would continue to stay at Marathon. Hope never dies. In the past, during the Blue Bus tours, he would always leave saying, now we set Meherabad on fire. We won't be coming back here. Several times he had said this, and he had always come back. In 1946, he came to Meherabad once, and I asked him the same question. Baba said, instead of that, if you say, Baba, go anywhere you like, I will stay in Meherabad. I will be more pleased. I said, I have not come for that. Baba shrugged and said, who knows? Most years that Baba came to Meherabad for Christmas, plays were performed either upstairs in the large dormitory or under the tin shed. In 1947, too, everyone was to do something to amuse him. One skit was about the three wise men. The three women taking part draped saris around themselves for robes, and each added the usual crown, a tea cozy. The sidebar says, if a new tea cozy were sent to the ashram, it was kept aside to be utilized first in a play before becoming an everyday tea cozy. Okay, most year, okay. One skit was about but Mani and Goher's sketch stole the show that day. It was Baba himself who had originally suggested it. Nehru described how it happened. At Meherazad, Baba and we were listening to some Persian records. Meherji Karkaria, a devoted follower, had sent from Bombay. Some of them had words from Hafiz and other well-known mystical poets. Quite a few had a quick modern tempo, like a march. One such song was about Navrosa and Firoza, a couple from Iranian history. While it was being played, Baba pointed to Mani and Goher and said they should choreograph and perform a dance to it as this famous husband and wife. It took all of Mani's persuasive powers to convince Goher that she could even do the skit. For days, Mani had cajoled her, but Goher kept insisting, I can't dance. Mehera heard them arguing once. Come on, Goher, Mani said. It's for Baba. You're the only one who can do it. Don't you want to make Baba laugh? Mehera went to see what was going on and heard Goher protest. But I feel so shy. How can I dance in front of everyone? No, you can do it, Mani urged. Finally, Goher agreed. And the two met for practice sessions in the onion storeroom. But when Mani showed her the dance steps, Goher was horrified. I have to move my feet and arms at the same time? During rehearsals, whenever the bell rang that Baba wanted her, Goher was so relieved to escape from the torturous practice. Saved by the bell, she commented gleefully as she fled to Mandali Hall. At Meherabad, when Goher and Mani came on stage, they were dressed as the elderly Irani couple. Goher as Navrosa, the husband, had a white flowing beard, a black Irani cap, and a long black coat. Mani as Firuza, the wife, wore a long net sadra, ijayai, traditional white silk pajamas, and a machubanu cloth tied around her head. For added effect, Mani sported false teeth made from a lemon. The song was put on the gramophone and she and Goher began to dance. Nehru continued, with great patience and much coaxing. Mani, with Mehera's help, persuaded Goher to be courageous and to learn it. Goher had never acted in anything before and was very shy and nervous. But in Meherabad, on the day of the performance, dressed as the elderly Navrosa, she gave a great performance. It was hilarious, and Baba, Mehra, and the entire audience of women Mandali were hysterical with laughter as Goher and Mani pranced their steps. Goher too joined in the laughter without missing a beat, which caused her beard to shake. And this, as a jolly old man dancing with his wife, added to her role, enhancing it. Goher laughed so hard, in fact, she wet her pants. Mehra said they should give an encore because everyone had been laughing too much to really appreciate the dance. Mehra's birthday had been celebrated publicly for the past several years. At times, it was celebrated on an even grander scale than Meher Baba's. That year, on 31st December, Mehra's 40th birthday was celebrated with a Qawwali program. Baba said the women returned to Meherazad the next day. None could know it at the time, but Meher Baba had spent his last night at Meherabad. Wow.
Would y'all care to let me try to read again? Oh, that's a nice picture. Can you go back to it?
Sure, Rolf. Yeah. Nicely
Nice
colored.
color. Is it colored or
I
they
think
did,
it's colorized.
they
Yeah.
did a good job. I guess they did.
Yeah. Hard to
I
know.
look at Baba's headgear.
Yeah.
Look at Ivy Deuce's hat. My gosh.
So this is in 48. Meru looks like a movie star. So
Yeah,
so does Mani.
yeah.
What's the date? Is there a date under that? It is a charming. Baba looks very pleased, happy.
10 January 1948.
Wonder who Charmian must have taken the picture.
Evidently.
Mirzad, January 48. That's right.
And there was another picture above here too that we is just titled Mandala, December 1938,
38. Mine
taken
is
by Mani.
MSI collection.
Yeah.
Oh, they're climbing the hill. My goodness. That looks kind of real. They're really having to pull somebody up, aren't they?
That might be Mara that
I
Baba's
don't
Oh,
know.
pulling up
crawling, yeah.
because she was saying she's terrified of heights.
Oh,
Got down on all fours.
yeah. Wow.
Well, good,
I know
Rolf.
how
Like,
that feels. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Or
you're afraid of heights too.
a bit. And
Yeah.
not as bad as I used to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have dreams of being on.
Yeah. I used to go up on the high diving board at the swimming pool, and I'd block the traffic. I couldn't make myself jump off.
Ah.
And the kids behind me yelling and screaming and
Yeah.
and then finally I jumped. Finally, I just threw myself off.
It's as easy as stepping off a sidewalk,
Yeah,
right?
I'd get up there and I'd look down and say, "Oh my God, look at the long way." Yeah, I got used to. And
So,
then,
Ralph, you want
yeah,
to continue with chapter 80, Pop's Place?
Pop's play. That's Goher's father was Pop. On 7 January 48, an American woman named Ivy Deuce and her 18-year-old daughter Charmian arrived at Meherazad to meet Meher Baba for the first time. Ivy had been designated the Murshida, spiritual guide of the Sufi order for the Western world by her own Murshida, Rabia Martin, a friend of Norina and Elizabeth's. Rabia had accepted Meher Baba as the avatar, and before she died at the end of August 1947, she named Ivy as her successor. When Ivy arrived, she was wearing a white hat out of respect, as if she were going to church. For Baba and the women, she had brought beautiful multicolored scarves as gifts. Once, during Ivy and Charmian's 5 day stay, Baba had Ivy put on her hat again for fun and told the women to wear the scarves while Charmian took their photo. As my birthday, they arrived on my birth. It was also Baba's Amara's birthday, January 7th, her official birthday, I think, the one that's on her tomb. On the 17th, Baba began a 40-day period of working with mas, sadhus, and the poor. During this phase, he was on a partial fast, eating only one meal a day. Elizabeth spent much of her time typing on her portable typewriter, using her forefingers. She stopped only long enough to take her dog, Foundy, outside. What are forefingers?
They probably mean index fingers.
Like that? In the films of Monty typing, that's how Monty's doing the type.
Yeah, yeah, that's for people who
Oh,
don't know the
typing.
touch typing,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
touch. Yeah.
yeah.
Elizabeth spent much of her time typing on her purple. She stopped only long enough to take her dog Foundy outside as the dog was ill. Some months before, Elizabeth was crying over Foundy's poor health. When asked why, she told Baba, Foundy is dying. Baba commented, that dog will live longer than Mahatma Gandhi. On 30th January, Baba remarked in the morning, a very significant event will occur today. In the evening, it was learned that Gandhi had been assassinated at 5:17 p.m. He died with Ram's name on his lips. Gandhi lived another 6 months until July and was then buried on Mehrabad Hill. Baba had also given Elizabeth a Great Dane pup named Daney, and Sarosh had given Baba a dachshund named Banja. Monty's Scottish Terrier, Cracker, lived at Marizod for some time as well. Cracker would go under Danny's tummy and play. Mara recalled, as Danny was tall, Cracker loved Danny, but Cracker couldn't stand Elizabeth's dog, Foundy. Soon after they returned to Marizod, Cracker was sent to Marabad, where Baba said he would be safer. The dog stayed in the dormitory with Kitty and Rano for more than a year. Sometimes, looking doleful, he begged to go outside. Rano took him, but he refused to relieve himself, and she had to lead him upstairs again. He was just bored, she concluded. Usually, Kitty looked after Cracker. Once, however, when Kitty was coaching Gulu and Jalu, those were the daughters of Pycobad. coaching Gulu and Jalu for a performance for Baba, Katie was watching the dog. That day, 14th or 15th of May, 49, Cracker escaped from the back gate and was killed by wild dogs behind Meherabad Hill.
Mm.
Oh, Baba. Damn. Kitty was very distraught. I don't think I've ever loved a dog as much as Cracker, she stated. There's a footnote there. Asterisk. Do you want to go to it now or later, Eugene?
Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Later, Kitty looked after Danny at Marizod for some time. When Danny was full grown, he was too big and strong for the women. So on 14 July 48, Baba gave him to Adi Sr. at Kushru quarters. In the new life, Danny was given to someone in Bombay. Once Kitty and Ronald saw Danny being walked there. They went up to him, and the dog was so affectionate he almost knocked them over. Almost knocked them over. Were, did we goof up, Eugene?
Should be in blue what you need to read.
Loved as the dog as much as Cracker, she stated. Baba's lovers throughout the world, coaching Gulu, right? Yes. The women Mandali went on a partial fast. Okay, Kitty said, never loved dogs as much as Cracker. Baba's lovers throughout the world were asked to follow certain instructions during February 1948. The women Mandali went on a partial fast for the month of one meal a day and tea taken twice. Baba left for must work on 7 February. He went first to Bombay to contact Mus before going to the annual Magh Mela, Magh, M-A-G-H, Magh Mela in Allahabad. You reckon that's the same as the Kumbh Mela?
Must be a different one.
Every 12 years, it's a Magh Mela, and this year it's uh, a, a this year is a 12th year, and they're expecting over either 800 or 400 million people.
Yikes.
We were reading Kitty's book, and she talked about, I think so, or that was the New Life book, the Kumbh Mela. There were about the, it was either 200 or 400 million.
Should I continue reading or would you
Oh,
like to?
I
Yeah,
can't. Sorry. Or
that's
the
okay.
recording. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Here he contacted, that's at the Magh Mela in Allahabad, 4,000 sadhus in just 3 hours, bowing down to each one and putting tremendous strain on his neck by doing so. Baba left Allahabad on the 9th and returned to Merzad 2 days later. And there's a footnote. Curiously, after being cremated in Delhi, Mahatma Gandhi's ashes had been placed in a copper urn and carried on a train from Delhi to Allahabad, where on 10 February, the day after Baba left, they were immersed at the sacred confluence of the Ganges and Jumna rivers as 3 million people watched from the riverbanks. Baba's 54th birthday was observed, according to the Zoroastrian calendar, on 13th February, when the Mehrabad women were invited to Meherzad. Also invited to visit were Gulmai and her daughter, Peroja, Goher's mother, Khorshed, Erich's wife, Khorshed, Erich's sister, Damania, Shirin Damania, and Vilu Irani. And there was a note after Erich's wife, Khorshed. Erich's wife, Khorshed Jesawala, later became involved with a false guru. When Baba told her to break off contact with him, she refused. Baba ordered Erich not to have anything more to do with Khorshed, which he obeyed. After Baba dropped the body, Khorshed met Mani and said to her, "You've forgotten me." Mani replied, "I have forgotten those who have forgotten Meher Baba." Back to the text, when Baba and the Meherzad women had visited Mehrabad in December, Mehra wore a crimson velvet jacket and a veil of Norina's from Norina's second marriage. Elizabeth was given permission to take a photograph of the entire group. Mehra was not pleased with the photo. "The same people seem to come in front," she observed. Next to Baba, Mehra preferred the younger girls, or Narina, who always looked elegant. The shy ones and the Westerners were always at the back. Kaku would come in front grinning. She had lost some teeth. In the picture, she is standing near Baba. Some photos have been spoiled in this way. Kaku and Tsunomasa would stand right next to Baba. That's hilarious. When Mehra mentioned this to small Khorshed claimed it was Narina who had told Khorshed's mother, Sunamasi, to stand in front, as she was so short. Mehra did not agree and opined that Sunamasi had come in front herself. The sidebar says, sometimes if Mehra was not pleased with how a photo turned out, she had it altered by having a different photograph of Baba inserted, for example. And here's a good place to stop at the top of 345. We'll pick it up next week.